Mm, I'm going to tell you guys this election day, we are featuring an amazing performer. An amazing performer. I'm super excited to have him on the podcast and super excited to let you guys hear their take on everything. I've loved following him on Twitter. I'm super excited he agreed to be on the podcast. I'm so looking forward to you guys getting to hear his side of everything. So, for today, we're going to have the amazing Funny Bone. He is a wrestler, a porn star, he's a personal trainer, and there's just so many amazing things that this man has done over his lifespan and he's still actively doing today. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast as much as I enjoyed having him on the show. Welcome to another episode of Forbidden Depths. Here we go. I would like for you to introduce your amazing self, Funny.
I am Funny Bone. I'm a professional wrestler, a personal trainer, and a porn star.
All those amazing things. I don't even know. I don't even know where to start. Okay, so whenever you originally got into the industry, where did you get your start?
I got my start, I would say locally because he was local, but I don't know if he did more outside of that because I didn't like talking to him that much.
Right.
But it was a guy here in town who shot jock foot fetish videos,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't always been this big, but like I was always in shape and stuff, so he used me for those.
Right.
That was like Uh, early 2000s.
Mm. Now, did you like sought out to find him for this work, or was it just something like you just met somebody and they were like, "Oh, would you be interested in this role?"
It was something like along the lines of like a few friends of mine were doing some kind of things in the
Mm-hmm.
industry, and I put out that I'm down and everything like that, and they
Okay.
had him hit me up.
Nice, nice. So, whenever you originally went into it, was it something that you just kind of did for money, or was it something you were like, "Well, I'm kind of curious about it. Let me go ahead and see what it's about."
No, I did it. Well, I mean I do everything for money. Um,
Right.
doesn't matter how much I love it, I still want to get paid.
Right.
Um, but no, I did it because it was something I wanted to do. It was something I wanted to try. It was something I wanted to
Mhm.
be a part of. So I was like, fuck it, I'm doing this shit. And then getting paid is an added bonus.
Right. Yes. Okay. So, when it comes to that portion, it's really awesome to love what you do because I mean, it always ends up better if you actually love it, right? It don't feel like a job.
Yeah.
It's nice to
No,
get
like
paid.
all of my jobs are like all of my jobs, careers, whatever, they're very hard to do.
Hmm.
Um like no part of wrestling is easy.
Right.
Uh it's 99% traveling. No part of personal
Hmm.
training is easy because you can be tired, sore, beat up. I've had sessions where I was literally still cut up from the night before of wrestling with
Right.
like holes in my head, and I'm trying to be a personal trainer. There's been
Right.
times where I'm doing porn, and my biggest shoot that I ever did was for the cover of one of the Hustler magazines. It was 9 hours.
Hmm.
Standing after like an hour, I feel like shit because my back's hurt from wrestling.
Right.
9 hours, I just want to cry.
Right. 100%. And people don't realize how physically demanding all of those roles are. Like all, just one of them is physically demanding, but you literally have three that are like extremely demanding. So my biggest thing is whenever you got into it, did you already have issues like with your back and with the rest of your body, or was it something that developed from you being an entertainer for so long?
I had some just because I was always an idiot.
Mm.
Like I've hurt my knees and my hips before I got into wrestling. I hurt my back before I got into wrestling. My first job, I rode my bike 14 miles to buck hay for 8 hours.
Mm.
Um, I, Regardless doing it correctly or not, you're going to have injuries because I
Right.
used to do 20 tons of hay a day, ride my bike 14 miles there, 14 miles back. Like it's just too much on your body.
Right.
So I had some, but wrestling is really the reason I'm completely torn apart. I literally,
Did
like, you can see my collarbone, and then you see me wiggle it because it's in two
Yeah.
pieces.
Oh my God.
Like, it's been broken for 13 years.
Jesus. Jesus. Like, did you have repairs done on it or did it just not heal?
It was broken in four pieces. Two of the pieces healed to two of the other pieces. They
Okay.
let me know right off the bat. They would have to do surgery for it to be one because they're actually sitting like, can't see it, like this,
Mm-hmm.
so they can't really heal to each other.
Right.
Um, but the doctor explained to me because he knows I have a history with the doctor and he knows my pain tolerance is through the roof, and I'm
Right.
weird as it is. It didn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. It's never hurt. Like, it hurt the night it broke, and that was about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I actually never wore a sling. I never took time off. I still wrestled. I still worked out. Nothing. I just did my thing.
Right. And I mean, even with your pain tolerance as high as it is, it's one of those things where as a performer, you don't give yourself time to heal because that means it's time away from money.
Exactly. Like, I actually tore my MCL, my PCL, my ACL May of
Mm-hmm.
this year, and I've probably wrestled 50 or 60 times since then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't afford taking time off. I
Right.
literally just taped it up, braced it up, and just worked around it.
Right. And I think that's one of the biggest stressors in the industry. It's, well, we don't get sick time. You don't get to take time off. It's not like you have somebody that's like, "Oh, here, honey, take 2 weeks, let yourself
Nope.
heal." It's like, "Oh, well, you broke your arm. Well, I mean, put that shit up and just go with it, you
Yep.
know?" And I think that most people don't understand that aspect of the industry and they don't respect it enough. Like, we don't stop working. We always have to be moving because whenever you slow down, you make less money. When you make less money, then you can't live.
Yep. No, it's one of those jobs, like any job where you're an entrepreneur of some sort. It's basically 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
For sex work or entertainment and stuff like that, it's even doubled because, say you're an entrepreneur and you own your own business, but you don't have to look a certain way. Well, we do.
Right.
We have to look a certain way. We
Yes.
have to make new content. We have to do this. We have to do that. Like, I don't get to not go and work out. I don't get to not go and diet. I don't get to not go
Mm-hmm.
and wrestle. I don't get to not go and, like, I'm either hitting up people for shows, like, promoters and promotions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hitting up
Networking.
clients to see if they want to expand or if someone
Mm-hmm.
else wants to use me, or somebody who hit me up like, hey, I'm thinking about doing it. I got to hit them back up to say, hey, what do you think? You still
Right.
working? Like, and when it comes to the porn stuff, like, I was literally supposed to do a shoot yesterday, day before. I don't know what today is. And the person ended up literally tearing their knee to where they couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
And she's like, can we work around it, or do you want to just wait? I was like, just wait, because I'm not worried about that one as much. That's just a shoot for myself to put out stuff on, like, OnlyFans and stuff. And
Right.
there's a chick here in Vegas. Her name's Agatha Delicious. She's the hardest working motherfucker I've ever met in my life. Her entire house is her rooms are different studios.
Right.
Like,
Like themes. Yeah.
yeah, like
Fuck
all
yeah.
different themes and stuff like that. She makes most of it herself. She has a walk-in closet that's the size of my room, with just costumes and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. She does makeup, special effects. She does producing, editing. She has her own website. She does everything herself. I've done like 30 movies with her. Never even once with my shirt off. Uh, nobody cares about that part. Um, it's weird. Like, the porn I do for her and stuff like that. It's like fake cannibal porn. I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
what it's called ever. I'm terrible at names. So I'm usually an ogre or monster or beast of some sort. I'm always painted up.
Mm-hmm.
I always have some prosthetics on and stuff like that, and I usually have a shirt on. One of the last movies that I did with her, I was changing afterwards, and I took off this jumpsuit I was wearing, and one of the actresses I've done plenty of movies with was like, "Wait, why the fuck do we never see him with his shirt off? He looks like that. Like, what the
Right.
fuck? Like, why am I naked and him fully dressed? This is bullshit. Get naked." I'm like, I'm not getting naked. She's like, get naked right now. I'm like, I'm not getting naked right now. Like, what the fuck? She's like, why did you look like that? I'm like, yes. What? I, What do you
Yeah,
want me
but
to
I'm
tell
getting
you?
paid. I'm getting paid to look like this though.
Yeah, yeah. For this, I'm like, no. For this, I keep my clothes on. She's like, no, this is bullshit. Can we make him naked in the next one? Like, she's hilarious. Like, she was so mad. She was like, this is what the fuck.
Well, I'm super glad that you have supportive people that you can work with because everybody has like some kind of positives that they take and sometimes there's negatives in the industry. So that kind of leads to one of my next questions. Is there anything that happened in the industry that left kind of some kind of negative impression or kind of taught you a lesson that made you think, well, maybe the industry is not all good. Maybe I need to steer away from this section or this company or these people. Is there anything that was just like completely negative?
Uh, Not completely. It's probably more on how I took it. Like, I was doing work with a company, and I did good work with them. I did a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of stuff with them. Outside of that, I did security work for the owner when he went out. Well, because I like flew to San Diego and did work with him.
Mm-hmm.
When we were off the clock and he wanted to go out, I was his driver because I'm straight edge, so I don't drink or anything like that. Um, I was his driver. I was his security. I was helping him out like that, so I got paid for the shoots and I got paid to do security.
Right.
Um, did a couple shoots with him like every year around the same time, and then he just ghosted me.
Mm,
And it was weird because I was like, dude, like last time I talked to you, you were telling me how much you love working with me, how much you love
right.
it when I come down. The only time you get to feel like you can go out and have fun because you know you got somebody watching your back and you don't have
Right.
to worry about driving and et cetera, et cetera. And they just
Right.
haven't heard from him in years, like nothing. And I'm just, it's one of those things. It's like I can't take what everyone says without a grain of salt because they might just stop talking to you the next day.
Right. 100%. 100%. So it's one of those things where sometimes you feel used.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I use him for money too, so I'm not too worried about it. But at the same
Well, there's
time,
a
it's like,
difference in using someone for money and getting paid for your efforts. Like them using you would be like them taking advantage of you for the moment because they want something from you. And then if you get paid for it, that's not you using them for money. That's you being a contractor,
yep,
So that's kind of my interpretation of the relationships because even with my work, it's like some people are good for a little bit and then they just completely ghost you. And you don't know if you'll ever contact them again. So, well, that goes back to my I get paid first. like like I'm not doing any kind of shit for anybody. I'm not traveling anywhere. I'm not making anything happen until I get paid because there's no definite with it. People could
no,
get
there's not.
cold feet last second and then you're left not getting paid for your efforts, which is super shitty, especially if you've
And that's
invested time in it.
that's actually in all of my things. I've been ghosted for personal training where I literally showed up to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It was payment was due. He was supposed to meet me
Mm-hmm.
there at a certain time. He was supposed to pay for his next month. He just
Mm-hmm.
never showed up, and then he blocked me on everything.
Yeah.
For wrestling, I don't get ghosted very often. I get ghosted when I tell them how much I cost,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't get ghosted before then because once I start working with you, you know that I'm worth my rate and stuff. And as
Right.
far as not paying me for wrestling is a very risky move because I might just beat the living shit out of you.
Right.
Um, I've only had one incident where I had to like get physical with a guy because he's like, oh no, I don't have your money, and I'm like, oh, you got
Mm.
like 5 seconds.
Right.
Um, the beauty of wrestling is like if a guy gets beat up because he was being a shithead, I'm like, that was a part of the show. What do you mean?
Right. Right.
No, no, no. He's fine. It was part of the show. I don't know what he's talking about.
Right.
We were filming something back, and then it's just I don't know. And also in wrestling, like in most things, people don't know my real name. Um, I keep that secret if
Right,
I
as you
can.
should, right?
So most people don't. You can't call the cops like, "Hey, Funny Bone beat me up," because
Right. They're like, who the fuck is Funny Bone? What are you talking about?
yeah. So I get away with a lot, and I get away with a lot because I am worth my money, especially when it comes to wrestling. Like I don't know about porn or personal training; those I'm still like iffy about.
Mhm.
If I'm really good at them, wrestling I'm really 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 good at.
Right. So you're
So I'm
most
definitely worth
confident
my
in
money.
wrestling.
Yeah, I'm super confident in wrestling. I've
Mhm.
never been in the ring and not completely controlled the crowd exactly how I wanted them to be controlled.
Mm,
And I usually break 90% of the rules that the company has. Like most places I wrestle for, at least semi or family friendly. I'm very much
mm,
not family friendly. I curse a
right,
lot.
right,
Um, I scream out motherfucker pretty constantly. My entrance music's about necrophilia.
right,
Like not family friendly, but when I go out there, the fans just go with the flow. Like
right.
like I don't look like I'm going to be family friendly, so it's not like shocking
Right.
that the
It's
monster said
also
a
your
battle.
aura. Like you have this aura and not everybody has that. You can just go in and you have this presence that's like demanding attention, that's demanding somebody to be receptive of you. Not everybody has that. And I mean, I've noticed that through your work. I followed you for quite some time now, and it's one of the reasons I was drawn to you because I'm like that. Not everybody's like that. So it's one of those things that makes you like, let me pay a little bit of attention to what's going on here, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's usually like I have a fun thing where there's not a lot of pictures or videos of me because people get caught up in watching,
Mm-hmm.
and they forget to do that. Like even
Right.
photographers that will literally forget to take pictures of me. I just had an incident this last weekend where uh referee was supposed to do a certain something at a certain time, and he
Mm-hmm.
got caught watching instead of being the
Right.
referee. I literally had to yell at him in front of the crowd, and he's like, "Oh shit!" He just forgot because it's. I'm big on it since you follow me. You know, I'm big on chaos. I'm big on so much shit happening that it just
Mm-hmm.
looks like a fucking train wreck out there.
Right.
Um, the messier and the more madness it is, the better I feel. Like I literally have chaos tattooed on the back of my neck with an anarchy symbol in the middle of it. I
Mm-hmm.
love that shit. So
Yeah.
like for wrestling, I want it to be as chaotic and as insane as it could possibly look.
Right.
So that happens in those moments. People forget to do what they're supposed to do when so much shit is going down that they're just trying to figure out what's happening.
Right.
It's fun.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, so would you consider the physical training when you do that? Would you consider that your 9 to 5, or do you have something else that you do as a 9 to 5?
I don't have anything as a 9 to 5.
So you just
Um,
literally make your own schedule as an entrepreneur.
yeah, I do what I
Nice.
want when I want, how I want. For everything. I haven't had a 9 to 5. I haven't had something where I got to clock in and clock out since 2015. And even
Mm,
that, I kind of clocked in and clocked out whenever I felt like it.
right.
Just because I wasn't really concerned about the job was just to have a job on paper.
Right.
At that point,
Certainly.
it didn't pay enough for me to give a fuck. So like I would leave whenever I was done,
Right.
and then call me up like, "Hey, you're not supposed to do that." I'm like, "Oh, no, I know. Bye." Uh,
Right.
not give a fuck. But
Now, was there
yeah.
something that made you not want a 9 to 5?
I like being in control of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much against the idea of like not having that freedom. Like I work my ass off to get to where I am as far as wrestling goes.
Right.
And it pays enough to where I can not work a 9 to 5. Um, and then to add on top of that, everything I do as far as sex work and everything like that, um, adds an extra layer of benefits. And then I recently added this year of personal training.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons I added it is because I have a lot of free time and I'm
Right.
really good at it. So it's something I like doing. I like actually teaching people how to take care of their body correctly.
Right.
It's funny, just a quick side note, like a client of mine who was terrible at diet, never listened to my advice, slowly but surely started listening to it and was like, ah, oh, fuck, you've been right the whole time.
Right.
Uh,
Maybe there's some validity.
like I literally told her like because she was very big and she's like, no, I don't eat a lot because I'm trying to lose weight. I was like, actually, if you eat really healthy food a lot, like you're gonna lose weight faster. And she's like, doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I know it doesn't make any sense because I mean
Right.
I could explain it to you, but it's actually gonna make less sense because you don't know what these things are, you don't know what macros are, you
Right.
don't know what like resting calories or you don't know any of that shit. So
Right.
the less words I use, the better. Shut up and listen.
Right.
Like trust me, I know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't say it unless I did. Like
Right.
it is something I get paid for and everything like that because
You
it
take
is time.
pride in it. Right.
Yeah. But I'm actually really good at it. Like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to diet, nutrition, and working out.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I haven't been this big my whole career is because I'm usually on the road 200 days a year.
Right.
Uh, COVID happened, and that gave me the opportunity to stay at home, work on my diet, work on my body,
Right.
and not have a ton of injuries. Now that I'm back on the road, that's actually the hardest part is maintaining it. Like my weight has
Mm-hmm.
fluctuated between like 240 and 220. Because if I'm gone for a long time, it's really hard to diet properly when you're in
Oh,
whatever city
yes.
you're in, and then flying to whatever city you're in, and then flying to whatever city you're in. I usually on the weekends I get less than 10 hours of sleep for the entire weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Just because as soon as one show's done, I gotta like this last weekend. I went to bed at like 2 to wake up at 3 to get to the airport to get on a plane to come home. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just how it works.
Right.
That's just wrestling. But yeah, it's a lot of work not having a 9 to 5. But at the same time, I'd still prefer it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love not clocking in and clocking out. I love not making money for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I love just making money for me.
Right. 100%. Because then
A
you feel
lot of
like you're
pressure.
investing in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really what it is. Like I just did a seminar for wrestling Saturday, and that was one of the things that I explained to them is like investing in yourself when it comes to professional wrestling, especially, is beneficial because it's a presentation. So I mean, you've seen me. I have a $450 coat that I come out in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a custom two-tone fox fur 4 length coat. Obviously, I had to invest money into that,
Right.
but it's
100%.
a part of my look and my presentation. My paint takes an hour or two every
Mm-hmm.
single time. It costs money, obviously, because I put on like 4 ounces of paint a week, a show.
Yes.
My gear, like the shorts are 300, the kick pads are like 150, $200. Like everything costs money, but my look is what brings the vibe that I bring.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't not look at somebody in a fucking 4 length fur coat.
Right. Now, how long does it take you to prep and get ready if you're doing a wrestling show?
If my head is shaved, it just takes the paint. I've been wrestling a long time. I really just paint up and then I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was working with people that I've never worked with before this last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally sitting in a chair and I'm like kind of falling asleep,
Yeah.
playing on my phone. And one of them was like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." Like, "You look like you need a nap." I was like, "I absolutely do need a nap." They're like, "But are you ready to go? Like, you pumped?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't do pumped." Um, like, and my tag partner for the night was like, "Just wait until his music hits. Just
Right.
watch." And I'm literally just sitting in the back, just like kind of slumped, and then like, "Oh, you're up next." So I stand up and I go by the curtain and everything like that. And then when the music hits, it's just a switch, and like I have all the energy in the world. I can stand up straight. I can walk easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't walk straight or easy when I'm not wrestling. Like I usually limp and my back's really hurt, so it's usually like
Mm-hmm.
kind of crouched over.
Right.
When I wrestle, none of that exists.
Right. It's because you literally are who you like your brand in that moment. You're
Oh yeah,
representing your brand in that moment.
yeah. I'm
It's
not
the
I'm not me.
same, right? And it's the same like whenever you're into porn or if you're some other kind of performer, like you don't have that freedom in that moment. You have to be this persona. You don't get to be this person with all these injuries. You have to be the persona that you're representing.
Oh, absolutely. Like one of the last porns I shot, I was this monster mutant creature thing. We're at some thing outside of Vegas or outside of Nevada, and I'm literally getting bit by bugs every
Hmm.
3 seconds. When we're not shooting, I'm like
Right, right.
going nuts. As soon as we're shooting, though, I don't give a fuck about anything else except for what
Right,
we're doing. Like, and I'm absolutely in the moment. I'm absolutely a monster. That's one of the reasons she
right,
uses me because I'm really good at being a monster.
right.
And like I'm not me in any way, shape, or form. Like I'm not worried about the bug bites at the moment. I'm not
Hmm.
worried about like anything that hurts or anything like that. Like that shoot specifically, I literally got in town like an hour and a half beforehand.
Hmm.
Went home, shaved my head, drove back to her place, went and drove and did the thing. Like I had like an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep tops.
Hmm.
Like I was exhausted, my body hurt. I was very lucky to wear a long sleeve shirt because my back had cuts on it from
Right.
the night before from like thumbtacks or some tacks or glass or some shit. It's
Yeah.
like I'm all cut up, so like
Right.
I'm literally like still bleeding a little bit while I'm trying to shoot this shit, but
Hmm.
all that stuff disappears as soon as we start to go.
Right. Well. I'm going to tell you that not everybody is that professional. Not everybody can dive into their persona like that. So, complete props to you.
Good at character stuff.
My next question is going. I'm not even going to ask you if you enjoy your work. Clearly, we've already covered that. We both know that you have a passion for it.
Absolutely love my work.
Okay, so for like family and a support system, do you let your family know about all of your work? Are they supportive? Do you have someone that you can just outside of like a mate that you can just be like, yeah, this is me, this is who I am, love me for who I am, and then they're just like, yes.
If anyone follows me on social media, they know I'm very, very open about who I am. I don't give a fuck if people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very open about the fact that I do porn. I'm very open about the fact that I do personal training and wrestling. I'm open about my sexuality, obviously. I'm open about everything. I literally have zero fucks about being open.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my kids don't know because my oldest kids know. My oldest kids are 22 and 20. They know. My youngest ones don't because the oldest out of the youngest start at 9, so they wouldn't even be able to. They know I'm a wrestler. They know I'm a personal trainer, and they know I'm busy. That's all
Right.
they know. Um,
Right.
they don't know anything aside from that. Like they just know that daddy's busy and all that. As
Right.
far as the support system outside of children, like all my friends know. All my friends will like share my shit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't technically have a significant other at the moment, but the closest to it shares my stuff ever so often. She
Mm-hmm.
she mostly shares her stuff because she does OnlyFans and
Mm-hmm.
she's a Twitch streamer, and she mostly shares that stuff. Um, but she's still not my girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't ask her yet, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I like giving her shit about it. Um, my ex used to share a lot of my stuff, but now
Mm-hmm.
we're not even friends on social media. But when she did, she shared it a lot.
Right.
Uh, but whatever. It
Was it
happens.
like the lifestyle that kind of hinders some of your relationships? Like how you're always
No,
on the road?
no, my ex literally has done porn as well. She did the videos, the cannibal porn stuff with her. I ate
Hmm.
her plenty of times.
Hmm.
She has an OnlyFans of herself as well. She didn't like it when I was out of town, but most of the time, we did have another significant other.
Hmm.
So that's when they got more of their time together.
Right.
And they, when I was gone, they got closer because I wasn't here. So they both
Right.
were missing me, but they had each other. I unfortunately usually had myself. Um,
Right.
so they understood and appreciated the fact that when I was gone, they at least had each other. I was
Right.
literally usually like by myself on the airplane in a
Right.
hotel, whatever.
Right. Super, super like lonely on the road all the time.
Yeah, and
That's
wrestling is
lonely.
one of those things. Like wrestling is not a very lonely sport.
Hmm.
I ride in cars with guys when I get picked up and dropped off.
Hmm.
The building's filled with a ton of wrestlers.
Right.
I, unfortunately, since I do have the paint look, don't
Hmm.
get to enjoy myself as a lot of the other wrestlers do
Right.
because I have to focus on doing that.
Hmm.
Because shows go for me, like I find out what I do. I briefly talk to the guy or the guys or the girls or whoever I'm wrestling.
Right.
Um, I start to get painted up because I usually try to be painted up before the show so I can try to sell merchandise before the show. Go back, finish painting up. I like to be finished painting up before intermission so I can sell more stuff and take pictures and people can take pictures with me completely done up.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm on before intermission, I like to be completely painted up before the show starts because I want to give fans the ability to take pictures with me
Right.
and paint. And then afterwards, regardless of where I'm at in the card, I will go back to the merch table, take more pictures, sell more stuff,
Hmm.
everything like that. So like between the all the stuff going on, I'm usually busy the entire night.
Right.
And then after the show, I'm trying to get all the paint off me and hurry up and get to the hotel so I
Hmm.
can get as much sleep as possible because
Right.
I'm going somewhere in the morning, whether it's home or to another city or to another state,
Right.
another country.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
So it's a little different for me. Most wrestling, they get a lot of time with each other. They get to hang out a lot. They get to fuck around a lot. Like the guys will be on the road for like 5, 6 hours driving. I'm
Hmm.
usually in an airplane, sitting next to some douchebag trying to take up all the room.
Right. Certainly. And it's really time consuming. People don't see how much time you invest or like your growth. Like they find you years later after you've had all this growth and they're like, "Oh, well, it's easy for you. You're on the top." That's not where we started.
Not at all. Like it's a grind. Like I'm very fortunate enough to have a fan who watched my first match 21 years ago.
Mm,
Still comes to shows now. Still get to see him all the time. Last time I saw him was like 2 weeks ago.
mhm.
Every year he buys one shirt for me. I don't think he ever wears them. Um, but he literally watched my very first match 21 years ago.
Mhm.
So he's watched all of my growth, and I thank him for supporting me for all those years a lot. And he doesn't like the porn stuff, so he doesn't share that stuff, but he'll always
Right.
share my wrestling and personal training. I don't think he shares
Nice.
the porn stuff because he has like a family, so he doesn't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think
that's
it makes people a
realistically,
little
yeah.
uncomfortable.
I don't get mad at people for not sharing my porn stuff because it's like,
Right.
well, no, like my mom follows me, bro. Like I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not everybody is completely open like we are either. Like whenever I came into the industry, I told all of my family, like I didn't hide anything from any of them. Like my
Yeah,
parents knew even before I started. I told them, "Hey, this is what I'm getting into." And they're like, and I was like, "Well, you know it doesn't matter what you say to me. Whatever I decide to get into, whenever my heart is set on, that's what's going to happen." And they were kind of like, "Yeah, we know. We love you regardless." So it's one of those things where not everybody is just completely blunt. They're not
yeah,
like, this is me, love me. They're more like, oh, well, will this person cut me out of their life or will this person be around if I decide to have like all of my skeletons out?
yeah.
So a
No,
lot
and
of people repress
for
it.
I'm very lucky in a
Hmm.
oddest way ever. For family, I only have my
Hmm.
brother. That's the only person I talk to from my family outside of like my own personal family.
Hmm.
He can give a rat's ass what I do, as long
Right.
as I don't punch him in the face.
Right.
Um, like he doesn't care. Like he supports my porn. He tells everybody about it. He
Hmm.
supports my wrestling. He tells everybody about it. His kids wear my t-shirts all the time.
Hmm.
Um, he tries to get free personal training and advice from me, but it's not going to happen.
Right. Right.
Fuck off. Like I don't have like aunts and uncles that I talk to. I cut all of them off. And I cut most off because they're kind of terrible people. Like I was in a
Hmm.
relationship with two women for a long time. One of them I have two kids with. The other one I have two kids with.
Hmm.
My family, I found out, was telling everybody else that the only reason I was with them is so they can have kids, and that we weren't in a relationship. So I was like,
Right.
they're lame. But they're from fucking middle of nowhere, Iowa. So
Hmm.
being terrible towards LGBT
Traditional.
community, yeah,
Yeah.
it's all those. They're
Traditional
old white
religious
people.
bullshit.
Old white people.
Yeah, I fucking feel that. I feel that so deep. Okay, so since we are talking about kind of where you came from and stuff, was there any kind of like trauma or any kind of whether it be like physical, mental, psychological, sexual that you experienced as a child or a teenager?
I had a very weird upbringing. I was raised by my brother.
Mhm.
He's 2.5 years older than me. We were on our own.
Mhm.
My dad was completely non-existent. Like I didn't see my dad until I was 11, and even
Mhm.
then, I only saw him periodically. And even then, he was more just trying to show off all the cool stuff he has instead
Mm,
of being a father.
right.
My mom was heavily into drugs. She doesn't remember my childhood whatsoever. She has no recollection of it, to be completely honest. My brother raised me, and we only
Mhm.
had one rule besides don't get caught.
Mhm.
And that's do whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't hurt other people.
Right.
Uh, Granted, we hurt other people, but that was for different reasons. Um,
Right.
we grew up in a really bad neighborhood. We had a defender.
Safety's different. Yeah,
Yeah,
safety's different.
yeah, we had to do that for our safety. I grew up in the only white person in the neighborhood kind of neighborhood. So fighting
Mm-hmm.
was something I did on a daily basis.
Right.
But I literally my childhood I did whatever I wanted whenever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just asked me on Instagram like if I ever stole something. I was like, I stole everything my entire life. Like I stole clothes, I stole food, I
Right.
stole toys. Like
Right.
that was the only way I could get it. Like I wasn't getting fed at home.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was, it was a weird situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're like, hurry up and eat because I'm hungry. If you don't finish before I finish, I'm gonna eat your food, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. But I don't. I really like looking back at my childhood. Besides some feelings towards it of like my mom choosing drugs over me, I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a lot of resentment towards my childhood because I think
Right.
the reason I'm so um, preferred of living my own free lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
and working my ass off in order to be able to get that is because when I grew up, it's allowed to do whatever the fuck I wanted whenever the fuck I wanted.
Right.
Like being having that as a kid motivates me to have that as an adult.
Right. Because you enjoy the freedom of being able to be where you want to be when you want to be there and take care of your family without
Yep.
somebody being like, oh, let me look over you and make sure you're doing what I tell you to do.
Yeah, I hate being watched.
Mm.
Well, like that. I hate being watched. Other,
Right. Right.
oh man. Um,
Okay, so next, if you could give your younger self any kind of tips or insights about you as a person now, like your journey where it is now, how you ended up being a wrestler and a porn star, and how you got into fetish and everything. If you could just give yourself pointers, what would you tell yourself?
everything will be okay.
Mm.
That's it. Because realistically, if I didn't live my life exactly how I lived my life, I wouldn't be right here.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be in the situation. I wouldn't be fighting for the things that I fight for. I wouldn't be working for the things that I work for. So
Right,
if I could go back in time and like tell them like, oh, don't do this, well, I probably wouldn't be exactly where I'm at, and I like where I'm
right,
at.
100%. Now, that goes to like whenever you were a child, did you have some kind of aspirations to be something or someone?
A wrestler. That was it.
Always wanted to be a wrestler. Fucking
Only
A,
thing I've ever
fucking
wanted to
A.
do growing up. Like I've literally like people all the time like they're like my brother for example for shoot jobs as we call it in wrestling I actually have mocked my brother um because he grew up and he's like, oh, I want to play video games for a living. Oh, I want to
Mm,
grow up and be a lifeguard. I want to grow up and do this. I've
mm,
actually done all the things that he said he wanted to do growing up as a shoot job. I
mm,
was a lifeguard, certified lifeguard. I grew up as security working at a bar downtown Las Vegas that was an arcade, so I could play video games anytime I wanted.
right.
Um, I actually had both of those jobs at the same time. So I was literally his life goal was to do one of the two of those, and I was doing both of them at the same time while wrestling, which was
Hmm.
his other life goal. When he grew up, he wanted to be a pro wrestler, but he's athletic for swimming, but he likes pot and Mario Kart too much, so he can't
Oh,
really be a wrestler because he's
yeah.
lazy as shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, wrestling is the only thing that I wanted to do, and as I got older, and more into like kink lifestyle shit, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely doing porn. Like this is fun.
Right.
I'm good at this. And then
Right. Right.
personal training came along of like just taking care of my body and
Mm,
being interested in taking care of my body and being able to help people take care of their body. Like I was the kind of guy that years before I was a personal trainer, like I would give people advice like, hey, don't do that, that's bad for you. Like,
right.
hey, don't eat that, that's bad for you. Like this is a good diet. Like I would
Right.
still be giving them tips and tricks when it wasn't even my job.
Right. Well, I am like, it's so refreshing to see people that got into something because they love it and then they get like paid as a bonus. Like, it's always amazing to get paid. But whenever you do something because you love it, it just feels different. Even
Yep.
whenever someone's looking at it, they can tell that you love it. That's like, oh, I gotta tell you, whenever I'm like watching porn or any kind of fetish work or anything, I am completely uninterested if I watch it and the sounds do not match the visual. Like if it's not grasping like the concept of realness, I'm like I'm not
Yeah, if they
interested.
don't look like they're enjoying themselves, if they look like they're
Yeah.
going through the motions, it's like this sucks.
Right.
Like,
I'm like, let me turn that off. I ain't trying to watch that. Like this is the
and,
worst shit ever made.
and that goes with wrestling too. Like I said, I
Mm-hmm.
just did a seminar recently, and I'm like, don't come out here and fucking phone it in. Like, if you don't come out here and bust your ass, like if you come out there and bust your ass, even if you're not that good, the crowd's gonna appreciate your hard work.
Oh yes.
Go out there and just kind of meh. They don't give a fuck. They want you to go away. It doesn't matter how hard you're working. If you're not in it, like they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Same goes with any kind of porn. If you're not like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not having fun, nobody gives a shit. Your porn sucks.
Right. And there are going to be those days because we do work for ourselves that we don't really want to be there mentally. But you got to show
Oh,
up and you got
absolutely.
to show out.
Yep.
Because if you don't, it's like, yeah, maybe this is the only one time that you don't really like put out all you can for your performance, but it's going to be the time that people remember.
And that's the thing too, is like for wrestling and for porn, we're as good as we are currently.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a bad scene, you're bad. The
Mm-hmm.
end. If you have a
Yeah.
bad match, you're bad. The end.
Yeah.
Like until you have an opportunity to fix that, you're that.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you fuck up, you have to hurry up and fix it and remind people how fucking good you are.
Right.
That's just the end of it.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the things why I was so upset about like I was speaking about the porn company that I worked for that ghosted me because
Mm-hmm.
I thought I did good. I was
Right.
worried I didn't do as good as they wanted me to, and then they ghosted me. So I was like, oh, I must have sucked. Like they
Right.
told me I did good, but I feel like I might have sucked,
Right.
and that maybe that's why they didn't call me back.
Right. It's like you need some kind of closure to know what actually happened.
Yeah, I can't grow unless you tell me what I did wrong.
Right. 100%. 100%. Now, my next question is going to be about abnormal kinks. I know we were talking a moment ago about how you kind of got your start in the foot industry. Is there like any kinks in particular that you are interested in that you enjoy more than the others? And do you have like hard limits that you just refuse to go near?
I'm what they call a pleasure daddy, so I'm not concerned about what I like as
Mm-hmm.
long as you're coming. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I don't really like is blood because I have a massive fear of hurting people for real.
Okay.
Because I grew up very violently and I grew up
Right.
hurting people a lot.
Right.
That's the furthest from my mind when it comes to any kind of fun in my life. And
Right.
wrestling, hurting people for real is very bad, and I feel very terrible
Right.
immediately. Like my first question to everybody is, "Are you good?"
Right.
Like after matches, as soon as I see them, I'm like, "Are you good? Everything's okay. You're fine. Everything's fine."
Right.
Because that's all I give a fuck about. Because if they're not, they don't get to do it the next day.
Right.
Um, I've been with people that wanted me to be rough with them, and it's hard for me until I
Mm-hmm.
learn more about them because I
Right.
am a big, strong dude.
Right.
Um, I've broken plenty of people's bones on accident.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to make them bleed.
Right.
If you're into that and you're very good at reassuring me that you're okay, fucking golden.
Right.
But unless I know for sure you're good, I'm freaking the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where you can't be confident in tending to their needs until you know what their limits are.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm like I said, like I've been with a chick. She's like, smack me. She's
Mm.
sleeping. I didn't
Yeah.
even hit her.
Yeah.
She's sleeping. Like I try to tell her like ahead of time, like, hey, like you're like 5'2". I'm
Right.
6 feet, 240 pounds. I'm a big fucking guy. Like
Right.
it's different. Like you're,
The
I hit like
perception.
I know how to
Right.
hit. It's not that I. There's a difference between somebody who knows how to swing their arm and somebody that knows how to hit. I know
Right.
how to hit. My body just goes naturally to that.
Right.
I'm gonna hit you harder than the last guy hit you.
Right.
And it's not to do anything except for do what you asked me to do. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm always tentative about that because I don't want to fucking hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
And
um,
huge on consent. I've gathered that.
yes, very huge on consent.
Mm-hmm.
For wrestling, consent is huge because
Mm-hmm.
are you okay with me doing this to you?
Right.
Like, if you're not, fucking go away. Like, leave the ring.
Right.
Um, And like I did a spot that I've never done before. I've had it done to me before. Any crazy painful death match kind of spot, I usually have it done to me first,
Mm-hmm.
to see how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had somebody, he grabbed me and he pushed thumbtacks into my head. And I was like, that wasn't that bad. So I asked
Mm-hmm.
the guy if he was comfortable with it. I did it. Afterwards, he's like, never again. That shit sucked. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
cool. We won't do that again. He's like, no, nah,
Right.
it's terrible.
Right.
He goes, that's why he goes, after like three or four, I was like ducking my head down. I was like, oh, that's what I felt like. Felt like you were done. So I was,
Yeah.
like, I didn't know if it was something else or if it was those.
Right.
Stop. Like, consent is mandatory. I need, for partners, for sex and everything like that, I need somebody to be very vocal.
Right.
Um, because if you're quiet, I don't know if you're good. I don't know if
Right.
you're paying.
Communication is key in any industry. And I
Yeah,
mean, that's extra in yours considering you literally have people in your hands and at that moment you control their health, you know?
yep,
So it's one of those things that you can't let someone just be like, "Oh yeah, I'm good," and then a second later, like something snap because they're broken in half because they can't take it. Like,
yep,
and they don't understand that different people are going to be different ways too when it comes to pain tolerance, when it comes to things that they can take overall, like mentally. Some things are hard for some people, kind of like
yep,
with your limits. That's not going to be everybody else's limits, but you got to talk about that to know what's going on.
yeah. And you got to feel it too. Like a lot of the times with a lot of this stuff, it's I can hear somebody tell me something, but I want to be
Hmm.
able to see it for myself. I want to be able to
Right.
feel their energy at the moment. Like I want to be able to
Right.
feel if they're okay. Like if they don't feel okay, I don't think they're okay. I don't care what they're saying.
Hmm.
If I'm unnerved by it, I'm not happy about it. Like, and I want to learn that stuff. And again, it's you talked about communication is key. Like that's the biggest
Hmm.
thing. Like knowing and fully understanding what their limits are on a physical side, what their wants are on a physical side. Do they want to be pushed?
Hmm.
Do they want to be cuddled? Like, do they want to be, like I've had some people that they like it to a certain extent, but then I've had some people that like to be pushed. Like
Hmm.
I had a girl, she's like, the safe word doesn't exist until I say it three times. I'm like, okay, terrible at counting, but we'll go for that.
Right.
But like I've had that. Like um my ex, I've given her plenty of conversations about the safe word, and because she's like, that went too far. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Like, fuck,
Right.
man. Like I
Right.
will literally, like, we were at a swingers club and all kinds of fun. She said the safe word, and I literally yelled out, everyone go away.
Right.
Because it was, nope, everything's stopping now.
Right.
Like, that's how adamant about it I am. Like,
Mhm.
and you hear somebody, if you're at all in the community properly, which not everybody in a swingers club is, but if you're at all in the community properly, when something like that's shouted,
Yes.
it means go the fuck away.
Right.
It's nothing personal. Go the fuck away.
Right. It's some kind of
Somebody,
safety issue that needs to be addressed. Yeah.
yeah. So with me, I don't give a fuck about anybody else except for my partner. As long
Mhm.
as they're good, I'm good. If they're not, I'm not.
Right. 100%. So, whenever it comes to like safety measures and stuff, is there anything in particular that is kind of like mandatory for you? And then whenever you are doing like events like this or whenever you're shooting for someone, do you have like a screening process that you go through?
Um, for wrestling, none. And if they suck, I'll find out really quickly,
Mhm.
and then I'll just dictate the pace from there. Because
Right.
I've had some that are just terrible.
Mhm.
Um, for porn and stuff like that, most of the people that I've worked with are people that I know and I trust, and they
Mhm.
know me well enough to know that if something's happening I don't like, I'm not shy.
Right.
Um, all the people that are, like Agatha Delicious is probably one of the people I worked with most.
Mhm.
She is very quick. Like if you are at all not vibing, you
Mhm.
are not at all invited.
Right.
She will edit you the fuck out. She doesn't give a shit if she saw 6 hours of you. If you're being an
Mhm.
asshole, bye.
Right.
Like, and she doesn't care. Like she is one of the people that really taught me the what's the word for it? being extremely thorough consent
Mhm.
wise for porn.
Mhm.
One of the questions she constantly asks throughout the entire process, every time we stop rolling, is everyone okay?
Mhm.
Constantly, every single solitary time, she wants to make sure you're okay. Do you need anything? You
Yes.
good? You good? You good? Everything's good? Are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Do you need to do, like, she's
Right.
so great with it, and that helped me learn to be so great with it that I've worked with chicks that like they're like, the next scene is he puts in a butt plug, grabs your hair, smacks your ass. I'm like, are you okay with all those? And she's like, well,
Right.
yeah, that's what we're doing. I'm like, that's not what I asked you.
That's
I asked you if
right.
you're okay. Like, how hard do you want me to hit? Left cheek, right
Mhm.
cheek? Do you want to put in the plug and you're like fighting my hand kind of thing, and you're
Mhm.
realistically doing it because I'm really good at faking stuff.
Mhm.
Um, am I grabbing your hair and pulling, or am I just grabbing your hair? Like, I want them to be in control of the situation
Right.
because I want them comfortable with the situation. And I learned a lot of that. She probably doesn't even know this. She probably won't even watch this either. But she is the reason behind a lot of that because she's very, very good with that. Like,
Mhm.
she's head above shoulders, like everybody that I've ever worked with.
Mhm.
She is fucking amazing at it. She does a great job of being and stressing consensual. She does a great job of making sure everybody's not bugging each other or pissing anybody off. Like,
Mhm.
I've literally been on shoots with her where she's like, "This dude's fucking annoying. Give me a minute. Let me go tell him to go away."
Right.
We're already shooting with stuff. He's in scenes, and she's like, "You're gonna have to leave
Yeah.
now. Like now. Like that's just it."
Right. Yeah, because that shit'll kill the vibe for everybody else, and then everybody
Yep.
else's performance goes downhill,
Yep.
you know?
And she literally doesn't give a fuck because, like I said,
Mhm.
everything's hers. She's in 100% control of it. She
Right.
don't give a fuck. She will edit you out that bitch so quick, or she won't even edit you out and just leave you in there. And then everybody's like, "Oh, the dude disappeared," and she'll write a thing afterwards. He disappeared because
Mhm.
he's a fucking asshole.
Right.
She gives zero fucks. Like, everything's hers. And that's why I love her because everything's
Mhm.
hers. So she's like, "No, this shit's mine. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. Like, I'm the
Right.
boss."
Fuck
She's not
yeah.
that cocky. She's very humble about it. But in my
Mhm.
head, that's how she's speaking.
Right.
Like, yeah. Like, she's very much not like that. But in my head, I'm like, yeah, kill him. And none of that personality.
Oh, that's funny shit. So, that goes to my next question. I know we talked about you being on the road quite a bit. With your family life and your work-life balance, how do you manage?
Um, I do the best I can. My kids are very much used to it. Like, I've been wrestling 21 years. My oldest kid is 22.
Mm,
Um, I've always been a wrestler, so they're very much used to daddy always being gone.
right.
I do little things like I will buy them souvenirs from airports every single time I go to town. My fridge is covered in magnets from I think there's 21 different states on there and Mexico.
Mhm.
Whenever I travel somewhere for wrestling, if I've never been there before, I will buy a fridge magnet and bring it back.
Mhm.
Um, Usually goes by states, but sometimes goes by cities as well. If I'm in a different city I haven't been to,
Right.
I try to always bring them something back. Um, they have a lot of my merchandise for shirts and stuff like that.
Mhm.
The neighborhood I live in, actually, everybody knows I'm Funny Bone here because a very, very let's call him vocal child watched me wrestle, and then he told everyone that would listen.
Yeah.
Um, for them though, like their older brother helps. They watch me wrestle on TV all the time. If it's a thing that they can buy, or if it's being live streamed, they will watch me. They don't get to go to a lot of events because I don't actually do a lot in Vegas. But
Mhm.
when I do and they can go, they go. They like watching me wrestle. They hate being at wrestling shows that Daddy's not on because the whole time they're like, "That's not Daddy." I'm
Mhm.
like, "I know, I'm not
Yeah.
there." They've literally been at a show and they're like, "Wait, Daddy's not on the show? Why are we here? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
let's go!" Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I tell them all about my wrestling stuff. I show them pictures and videos and everything like that. So, like, I want them to know exactly why Daddy's not gone. They know
Right.
farewell. Daddy's going to pay the bills. This is
Right.
not a hobby. It's not for fun.
Right.
This is how we have electricity. This is how we have food. This is how we have a
Mhm.
car. This is how we have the stuff that we have.
Right.
Um, Daddy doesn't want to be gone. Daddy hates being gone. When I come home, depending on the time, they usually run up to me like, "Hi." Sometimes they're like, "Oh, hey, Dad." I'm like, "Oh, cool. I've been gone for a week, but whatever. No, it's fine. Fuck off."
Right. Right.
Um, if they're playing video games, I don't exist still. They're like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, no, hi, hi, hi." When I am home, I try to be very much in their face, bugging the shit out of them.
Mhm.
Like right before this started, I was telling them to clean the living room and then start practicing their ASL. My youngest son is a nonverbal autistic little monster.
Mhm.
He communicates by sign language. He
Mhm.
can understand what I'm saying, but he can't communicate back. So he
Mhm.
uses sign. So we're all trying to learn sign so that way we know what he's saying and we can teach him more signs so he can learn more because he learns more
Right.
from us than other people because he's very standoffish towards other people.
Mhm.
He likes to silent protest or sometimes play dead.
Yeah.
Literally seen him lay on the floor, spread eagle, going,
Yeah.
"Nobody's buying that, dude. What are you doing? Get up. You're playing dead right now? Like, what the fuck, man?" I was dying laughing. He literally is at speech therapy and he didn't want to do it, so he played dead. Like, what the?
Oh.
Oh my god. Um, so we're very much like, I'm gonna do that. When I'm done with that, I'm probably gonna go beat them both up and
Mhm.
tickle them for like a good 10 minutes until like their ribs and faces hurt. And then I got more errands to run, and then I'm gonna come back and do more of that.
Mhm.
Um, I bug them all the time. They regret when I'm home because I'm literally just messing with them. Like I will call them in here in my room. Like if I'm laying down in the room and the remote is 1 inch out of my reach, I will call him in here to give me the remote. Um,
They don't
like
understand it's just dad wanting to spend time with them.
yeah, no, they know it's just my way of just this is my way of seeing you. Like I will walk up to them and just mess with them. I will go out there and just beat them up. If they're in their room, I went into the room earlier today before I left. I had an errand to run earlier. I walked into the room and my son was sitting in a chair and I asked him to stand up real quick. And as soon as he stood up, I kicked over his chair and then I walked out of the room. Like here just to mess with her. Dad, I wanted to say hi. They're like, that's a weird way to say hi. I mess with them all day long. Like I try to have as much fun with them as possible just because I don't get to see them as much as I want to.
Right, 100%. And it's good that you put that effort in because sometimes whenever you get used to being on the road, and some people get in this kind of mindset where I don't see them when I'm away, so they don't really spend time with them whenever they're home. So it's kind of hard for them to adapt whenever they get home and communicate and like spend time with them because they're so used to being on the road and stuff, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I've talked to plenty of other wrestlers about that they have a hard home life because they're gone all the
Hmm.
time,
Hmm.
and people are kind of grumpy with them when they're gone all the time, and
Right.
they have a hard time communicating because they miss out on so much in events and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm
Mm.
just gonna throw myself in their face and just bug the shit
Right.
out of them.
Right. Here's all my
Alongside
attention.
son,
Take it.
yes, you have all of it. You have undivided attention, and I will like and I like being a dad. It's what keeps me calm and keeps me grounded. Like I have one daughter. I have six boys and one daughter, seven kids total.
Mhm.
For anybody bad at math, I like combing her hair. I like looking at her coloring book and seeing the stuff she colored. I like
Mhm.
when she gets her nails done. Her mom usually does them and stuff like that. If she's been to a shop and got her nails done professionally like twice,
Mhm.
um, I I like combing her hair. It's something that's relaxing to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a stereotypical like guys don't know how to comb their daughter's hair. No, I know how to comb my daughter's hair. I know how to do my daughter's hair.
Right.
It's relaxing for me. Like my youngest son, like I said, like I do speak. I'm getting to speak a lot of sign language. In the last
Mhm.
like 3 weeks, I've been on this random ass mission, just because he was struggling to ask people. So he plays video games.
Mhm.
He just found a two-player game that he likes. So he was just shoving the controller in my face. I'm like, what, dude? Like, I don't know if he wanted me to change it. And I go out there and it's
Right.
a two-player game. I'm like, do you want me to play? And he just like lifts the controller. So I put down the controller, get on my phone real quick to look up how to sign. Can you please come play with me?
Mhm.
So I learned it and I was like, this is what it means. I was like, when you want someone to play, because again, he can
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying, but he just can't communicate it.
Right.
So I taught him the sign that can you play with me? Um, and he's like, now he goes up to people and he puts a controller in front of them, not in their fucking
Mhm.
face, in front of them, and he signs that.
Mhm.
Um, so that way he knows, like, hey, play video games.
Right.
Like he signs all that stuff. And that's my little thing with him is I'll pull him aside and try to teach him a
Mhm.
sentence or two, or pull him aside and try to teach him new signs that Daddy learned,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like every kid that I have a thing that I do with, and all the way
Mhm.
up to my old kids. My oldest are 20 and 22, and I
Mhm.
still have things with them that I do that I
Right.
mess with them about. Like my oldest son is blind, so I try to throw as many blind jokes in there as possible.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, did you see the new thing? Did you see that? That's crazy. Like shit like that. My son under him, he's actually a manager at a Pollo Loco, and he works like 60 hours a week. So I don't get to see him often. So when I do, oh my gosh, it's terrible, so terrible. I'm such a dickhead to him every time. Um, my son under that, he's huge into wrestling.
Mhm.
He literally is super proud that his daddy's a pro wrestler because he loves watching wrestling all day, every day.
Mhm.
So and he's also really big into talking.
Yeah.
Um, his house where he lives because he doesn't live with me. Just my house on the weekends usually. Um, he lives with older people that don't like wrestling, so they're like,
Mhm.
don't talk.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, get all your wrestling stuff out. And I'll just sit there and listen to him talk about all these wrestlers and all this stuff and everything that's going on, everything that's happening. I have to
Mhm.
pretend like I didn't know all this stuff before he told me.
Right.
It's all new news to me. Um, I have twins. They're different sexes and different races. That's
Mhm.
my one daughter, and then my son, who's a complete spaz, and he's a contortionist at
Mhm.
9. He literally was just. I was in here talking to him, and he's got his arm bent away, and I'm like, "Is that broken?"
Yeah.
Uh, Again, the daughter, I usually comb her hair. I talk to her about this, that, or the other. My son, I'll talk to about drawing. I'll talk
Mhm.
to about he. We talk to each other in Stitch's voice. Um, and he'll learn other voices that he does, and then I'll try to learn them too, so we can talk to each other in weird voices because he likes doing that.
Yeah.
Um, my son underneath him is super shy. He doesn't like hugs and kisses and stuff like that. So like I don't pressure him to hug and kiss. So we do like handshakes or we just
Right.
talk and like I'll push him. Like he likes to be tickled, but he doesn't like to be hugged. Which I was like, that doesn't make any sense. It's like the
Yeah.
same thing. Um, so I'll mess with him. Like I'll literally tell like a series of jokes leading up to like informing him that I'm gonna tickle him, but like dropping hints. And he literally the whole time he's just like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
I know where this is going. And then I'll eventually do it to him. Like I said, I have that for my family life, like for the kids, that's my everything. Like they're the only things that keep me from not hurting people on a daily basis.
Mhm.
Because they remind me that I can't go to prison.
Right. Right. Because you got to care for them and love
Nope.
them, and give them all the amazingness that you didn't have. And I'm super proud of you for
Yeah.
that, by the
Oh, thank
way,
you.
because not everybody breaks the cycle for the better, and you definitely did. So I am super proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, whenever it comes to your mentality for work, does it affect you both positively and negatively? Like, do you have moments where it kind of helps you stay up and kind of moments that you're kind of down? Or is it just like you coasting?
Um, for both porn and wrestling, like when
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it, I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like in it 100%. When
Right.
I'm not doing it very often, when I don't have anything coming up as often, like I panic, I doubt myself, like all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
immediately. Like,
Right.
but again, a lot of that has to do with like that's where I get my money. So when like this weekend,
Yes.
I'm not wrestling. I had a show on the 12th, but it got canceled. Um, and I had another show moved from the 13th to like later the month and stuff like that. And the holidays always
Mhm.
fuck up my wrestling, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Um, for wrestling and personal training, I make the least amount of money in November and December because
Mm-hmm.
that's when people aren't really doing that stuff.
Right.
Um, so like for the next 2 months, I'm gonna feel like shit because I'm not gonna be wrestling as much, I'm not gonna be training as much. Um, oddly enough, even though it has nothing to do with the holidays, there's usually less stuff to do porn shoot wise. So I got to do a lot of my own content.
Mm-hmm.
And like times like this, like I double down on the things that I can't do, like or double down on the things that I can do because I can't do the other things so much.
Right.
So like again, the shoot that I was supposed to do Monday, like the only reason I was doing it is because I'm not going to be wrestling as much, and I need another way of making money.
Right.
So like contacts this week about collabing on work and stuff like that have been through the fucking roof.
Mm-hmm.
Of just trying to do something that way bills are still paid,
Right.
rent's still paid, food's still on the table. Like that's the stuff that gets me when I'm not doing it. When before COVID, I was wrestling 150 times a year plus.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't a single solitary weekend where I wasn't wrestling 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Um, Things aren't fully back from there, and I've changed a lot since then. Like I don't drive. I used to drive to all the shows that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drive to any of the shows I do. I fly.
Right.
So I cost more because now I got to get a plane ticket and a hotel.
Yes.
But I since COVID, I didn't stop wrestling for shit during COVID. I wrestled like monthly still. I wrestled
Mm-hmm.
all the time. I've wrestled during when everything was still shut down. I wrestled in Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. all in a 5 day span.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I brought my value up during the time that everybody's value dropped.
Right.
So I refuse to go backwards on that. Like I'm not
Right.
driving to shows. I'm getting paid to fly.
Right.
I'm not like my Southwest ticket doesn't pay. That it costs too much. Cool. Then I guess I'm not on your show.
Right.
Um, Even though I take a hit financially for doing that, but I don't take a hit mentally
Right.
for not settling. Um, for personal training, it's just that's just what it is. Everybody wants to eat holiday food, which doesn't make any sense to me. Um, but
Yeah.
that whole thing is just weird to me. Always has been. Always has been like, oh, I eat like shit during the holidays. Why?
Yeah.
I have zero problem eating healthy during the holidays. Well, they make all this food. Yes, and I eat it. I eat my proteins and I eat my low glycemic carbs and stuff. Like that's,
Mm-hmm.
I eat my vegetables. Like I could eat just fucking fine. Like you don't have to eat like shit because it's the holidays. That's weird as stuff. You don't
Right.
have to stop working out because it's cold out. The
Right.
gym is nice. It's air conditioned in there. It's either heat or cold. Like that's how those things work. It's indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's
Mm-hmm.
zero excuse to change your habits because of that. It's really weird to me. But it's just how people are, so I have to just roll with the punches of it.
Yeah. It's like they look for things to make an excuse for
Oh,
them to
absolutely.
relapse in their diet or whatever, in going to the gym or whatever the issue is. People look for reasons. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like my favorite reason is I'm too busy. I
Yeah.
live in Las Vegas. All gyms are 24/7. You have no excuse not to hit one.
Right.
Well, you do have excuses. Like there's plenty of reasons not to hit a gym, but too busy is not one of them. They're
Right.
24/7.
Right.
Meal prepping. I've meal prepped at 2 in the morning. I've also ate at 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have an excuse or you can have a result.
Right.
And it just determines on how bad you want it. Like, and I don't knock people for not wanting it as bad as I do because we're not the same fucking person. I
Right.
have to look a certain way for my job. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to. You're just trying to get in better shape. One of the
Right.
biggest things that I push to clients is like my diet consists of 4 ounces of steak and a cup of rice 6 times a day. My vegetables come from a supplement that I eat because I don't like vegetables because I don't really have the ability to taste things. So it's just texture, and the texture of broccoli is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect them to eat as well as I do because
Right.
they don't have the same goals as me. Like
Right.
I'll ask them flat out, "Do you want a 6 pack?" Not really. Okay, then don't eat like you're gonna get a six. Like that's
Oh
hard.
yeah, I definitely want a six pack. I have an
Yeah,
autoimmune disorder and I'm getting back to working out regularly, so this might be
yeah.
something that we talk about in the future.
But like,
Oh, and before we go any farther in the podcast, guys, you heard that he was talking about how he has so much freedom in his schedule in November and December. That means that's the times to book him, okay?
yeah, for whatever.
Yeah,
As
November,
my as my
December.
as my Twitter says, I'll either fuck you or fuck you up.
Yeah, November, December. So save your money until the end of the year and book him then because he has all this flexibility in his schedule, right?
Yeah.
I'll make it happen. Um, what's the best and worst part? about your job?
Um, the best part, okay, well, I'll do one of each. The best part about wrestling is the crowd. Um, I fucking love the
Mm,
energy. I love making people forget about everything that's going on in their life.
hmm.
They can't think straight when I'm wrestling, and I love that. Like, I love giving them a show. I love
Right.
that, and I love for me personally, like again, since I'm so open about my life, I
Hmm.
love when wrestling fans get to come up to me and express newfound openness because of
Hmm.
the bravery I showed them. Being open gave them the ability to do so themselves.
Right.
I love that. The fans are incredible. Wrestling would obviously be nothing without fans because if they
Hmm.
didn't show up to the shows, nobody could afford to pay me.
Right.
Um, for personal training, I love people seeing their goals get hit and their goals get met, and they're.
Hmm.
I do a thing. I don't like doing the picture thing because
Hmm.
I'm terrible at taking pictures. I'm not this small. I'm way bigger in person. I'm terrible at
Hmm.
taking pictures and looking big on cameras and film. Everybody that I've ever ran into, they're like, "You're way bigger in person." I'm like, "Yes, because I'm terrible at pictures."
Hmm.
I don't like personal training. Like I don't like doing the picture thing. I always tell them their first day of training, wear their favorite shirt, and
Right.
then wear it once a month,
Right.
and you'll feel yourself feeling different in that shirt.
Yes.
Like, and that's the biggest thing is like, oh shit, the
And
shirt's
then they
loose on
can
me.
feel it, not just see it.
Exactly.
Yes, I
Like
love
the
it.
shirt that I put on today, I remember when that shirt used to be big as fuck on me.
Hmm.
And it's a 2X shirt, and I put it on, and it's snug on me. That
Hmm.
feels fucking good.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I love people getting to hit their goals, and I love people to be able to like learn how to do this and take care of themselves properly and be able to
Hmm.
do that because obviously something you should have learned in school. Obviously, they botched the shit out of that.
Yeah, for real.
They
For
were
real.
math you're never going to use in history. That's not actually true.
Hmm.
So instead of just taking care of yourself, which is super important because otherwise you die.
Right.
And then for porn and everything like that, I love. And granted, it doesn't happen very often. I love when people tell me that my shit's awesome and they get off to it and all that kind of stuff. Like if I'm making somebody happy in some sort of way, I'm happy. Like
Right.
um my favorites actually like the people that like if they subscribe to all my bullshit or any of that stuff, like and they message me like, look what this made me do. This video made me look like this. I'm like, hell yeah, dude.
Hmm.
Come all over the place.
Right.
Like I want them to be happy. Like cause to me, like whether it's masturbation for shits and giggles or masturbation just to fucking relieve some stress, like
Hmm.
I helped you relieve stress in your life. That's fucking awesome.
Right, right, 100%. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of people get stuck in the negative aspects of things, like especially sex work. They're like, oh, well, sex work is terrible. And if you do sex work, then that means you're some kind of offender or you're some kind of, it's like derogatory to them. But it's so empowering, like on all levels. It's so empowering, which leads to my next question. And it's my last question. I'll let you get back to your day. But did sex work as a whole teach you anything? Is there something that it helped you learn that you don't think you would have learned somewhere else?
People are into it.
Mm,
Whatever it is, whatever you're doing, whatever you're into, you're
mm,
not fucking alone. Um, people are into it. Like, I was talking to a buddy, and he was saying like he would start an OnlyFans, but he's out of shape and he's not very big. I'm like,
oh,
yeah, people are into
yeah.
that, buddy. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, you can Google.
Normal body. Yeah.
Yes, like people are into it. Like it doesn't matter like what everything. I had a friend. She was like, "Oh, I want to do foot fetish stuff, but like this pinky toe is all fucked up." I'm like, "That's the market, bro." Like,
Hmm.
it's like what else? Like to have deformities of any kind. Like there's literally a like you can literally Google up. There's a term for
Hmm.
sexuality of people that are into deformities. And she's
Yes.
like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Grab your fucking phone, look it up right now." Like literally, like
Yes.
that's you're leaving money on the table.
Yes.
I'm like, people are into it, whatever it is. Like people are. I know people that are into like because I'm scary monster dude. Not what people would deem sexy. People
Hmm.
are like, dude, you're sexy as fuck when you're like that. Like
Hmm.
Fuck, I've had porn stars, literal porn stars, hit me up like, "Hey, is there any way we can book you as a shoot and you fuck me in paint?" I'm like, "It's really hard to do that. I don't know if you know this. I can't breathe with the
Mhm.
paint on. I'm suffocating, and it's really hard to get hard when you're suffocating."
Right.
Like, but you wrestle. I'm like, "Yeah, it's easy to wrestle when I'm suffocating. It's hard to get hard when I'm suffocating."
Right? Because you have to have
Different.
air. You gotta have air.
Like, and that's what a lot of people don't get. I'm like,
It needs
wrestling,
a
I
little
could
more
suffer
air.
through. I can suffer through not being able to breathe while wrestling. That's part of wrestling, anyways. You're moving and doing all that stuff. You're gonna
Right.
lose oxygen. If you're fucking, losing oxygen means you get soft. The
Yeah.
end. There's nothing you can do about that. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're very much into losing oxygen, and then you're great.
Yeah.
Um, but like, it's not the same. So I was like, I can and I can't. Like, I can fake it. I can
Right.
for a little bit. I can if
Right.
it's a short film.
Mhm.
But the longevity is not there. Like, and I never thought when I started doing this look that people will think that I'm extremely sexy and extremely hot. Because I'm like,
Mhm.
no, that's they're gonna be scared of me and they're gonna be creeped out. And then like
Right.
the creepier shit that I
Well,
do,
that's
like
not what I was going for, but
fuck it, buy my shirt. I have a shirt that says my name is Funny Bone and I have a big pee. A fan designed it and I put it on a shirt because I was like, fuck yeah, that's funny. Um, like fuck it, like I don't give a shit. I'll make money off of it. But
Right?
like, yeah,
Coin that
people, I
shit.
didn't expect people to be sexually attracted to the gimmick. I still think, me personally, it's whatever. As long as you're into it, as long as you're happy. Not my
Right.
thing. I'm not into monsters. I mean, granted, no, I think it would be.
Part
Vampire
of you.
chicks seem pretty hot.
Oh my, yes. Vampire and werewolves, definitely. Like, I will start salivating right now.
Yeah, never mind what I said before. Monster chicks are hot. Um, but no, like whatever they're like. That's the thing is like, because when I was doing the cannibal porn, I'm like, people watch this and get off. They're like, yes. I'm like, all right. People watch the jock foot fetish stuff. I'm like, all right. Like when
Right?
I started shooting, my ex, she had a surgery on one of her breasts because she had sepsis, and she died twice actually from it.
Mhm.
And then still came back. Her tits have still always been one of the most popular things to sell in there because they're
Mhm.
unusual.
Mhm.
And I told her that, like, and that's she was very self conscious about it until she
Right.
realized people were still asking to see her tits. I'm like, that's why they're asking to see your tits because they're natural and they're real. They're not
Right.
fake. They're not like pretty. Like they're not that stereotypical pretty
Right.
fake statuesque tit. They're real tits. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and people are into that. Like
Yes,
people like
especially with all
real.
the modifications with everybody now. They're like, "Do you have real tits? Are your tits natural? Like, where can I see these real tits?" And it's just
Oh, and
because so many people are modified.
I had a funny conversation with her not too long ago because um, she was like, I want to get fake tits. I was like, this
Mhm.
is why you shouldn't. I was like, feel your tits. What does that feel like? She goes, a nice titty. I was like, feel my shoulder. She felt my shoulder. I was like, what does that feel like? She's like, a shoulder. I was like, no, that feels like a fake tit.
Yeah.
That's what a fake tit feels like. It feels like a shoulder.
Yeah.
She's like, oh. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want that.
Yeah.
That's not attractive when you're rubbing it and you're like, why is it so hard?
Yeah.
Like that's I was like, I felt fake tits before. They feel like my shoulders. They
Mhm. And the biggest thing is people feel pressured into that in the industry. They're like, "Oh, well, I can make more money or I have to do this to make more money."
absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons I look this way is because
Mhm.
like I look this way because when I grew up, like this was the hot way to look, a big buff guy.
Mhm.
Um, my body dysmorphia is fucking raging all the time. I
Mhm.
literally look at myself and think I'm tiny when I'm literally 6 feet tall, 230 pounds of solid muscle. I'm
Mhm.
like, I look like shit.
Mhm.
Um, like I feel the overwhelming urge to continuously get bigger and get in better shape
Right.
for wrestling, for personal training, and for porn, even though
Right.
it's completely unnecessary
Right.
because people are obviously into my body. I have fans on OnlyFans, like,
Mhm.
and that's one of the things I use as motivation to like. I have people that are paying $10 a month to see me naked.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm a little cute.
Right? Right? And people don't understand that it doesn't matter what or who you are, somebody out there wants to support you.
Yeah.
So, you might have a crooked toe, maybe you do have some extra scars, but there's gonna be some kind of market for it. There was a lady I was speaking to that, her doctor had a thing for patients, but obviously he's not allowed to contact or have a relationship with patients. So he just completely refused to be, I guess, ask anyone out on dates and interact with people in that kind of manner romantically. So, um, her friend actually was ended up having some health issues, and she had like a surgery, and she had a bag and all kinds of other stuff, and the doctor actually hired her to be his girlfriend because she was chronically ill, and he that was his thing. He always wanted a chronically ill girlfriend. But you can't just be like, hey, are you sick? Let me hire you to be my girlfriend. You know.
Yeah, that's one of those that definitely you can't really do that. But at the same time, like if that's what you're into, man. Like
Yeah.
the girl I was talking about earlier, that's close to my girlfriend and not my girlfriend. She actually is an RN, so that's good because
Mhm.
I'm gonna need that. Um,
Right.
because I'm usually hurt.
Right.
Um, I can't really lift this arm all the way. My back is covered in cuts. That's what I keep messing with because my chair is a little sweaty and it's getting
Mhm.
in cut. Um, like registered nurse for a professional wrestler sounds right up my alley.
Hell
Speaking
yeah.
of my chair, just because I know you would be interested in it, I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, but I posted on here. This is the chair that has the little thingies for the restraints for the hands and feet.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right in front of me, it has the thing for the vibrator that I can lock into place. I started building these
Nice.
things. The wall behind me,
Nice.
you could see. I don't know if you could see the restraint right there.
Yeah.
But I built it into the wall. This one's
Mhm.
for the collar, and there's ones for the arms, and then the feet down there, so I can restrain people to the wall. My bed has 8
Nice.
different spots for restraints, and I'll actually be able to do this because I'm sitting right in front of my bed. This is a chain that's attached to my bed. So I
Nice.
can restrain people to it. That's stuff I build now too, because apparently I had free time for 20 minutes and I built shit.
Mhm. Mhm. And that's a talent. That's a talent. Like not everybody can do that. So you can add that
yeah,
to your
I,
resume.
yeah, I've had carpentry work in the back, like yesteryear. Like in my room, I have a glory hole. I
Mhm.
have things for restraints all across my ceiling. The bed literally has like, because I have a Cali King style bed. It's actually like a European King or some bullshit. It's like 4 inches bigger.
Mhm.
Like I could tell. Um, the headboard has 4 different spots for like hooks for restraints. The bed itself
Mhm.
has another 4. And then at the edge of the bed, up by the feet, it has 2 down there for the feet as well. Um, but the glory hole, the bed, the wall, the chair. I have something else, and I just can't remember what it is. That's when you know you built a lot of shit. When you're like, what is it again?
Mhm.
Oh, I modified a massage chair. I had a
Oh,
massage chair where you sit up, and I
nice.
modified it to where you're laying down, and I can tape or rope you to the chair so you can't move.
Mm. Nice. Nice.
This
I
is what
love
I
it.
do with my free time. Go to sleep, daddy builds stuff. Actually, it's
It's
usually when they're in school.
it's really
Fitting.
beneficial. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's funny too because like not even used very often or ever.
Mhm.
I still have it, and if I don't use it soon, I'll sell it and then I'll build another one.
Right? 100%. And
Like
I mean,
chairs
it
like
can
this
be
go for like
themes
450
too.
on Etsy. Hmm?
Yeah. It can be theme stuff too, like whenever you're doing content.
Yep.
Yeah. Hell
No,
yeah.
I've already talked to a few people about using my room and stuff like that whenever they want to shoot anything like that.
Mhm.
And me personally, I have like $3,000 worth of sex toys.
Mhm.
Um, everything from like Bad Dragon dildos to like vibrators, plugs,
Mhm.
all kinds of different harnesses and stuff like that. Chains, rope. I have 200 feet of rope.
Mhm.
I have like 15 vibrators. I have a fuck machine somewhere.
Mhm.
I think it's this way. I have fucking everything. So like my room is set up to do this. When
Right.
I'm gonna be moving into a house of some sort in the next few months, I'm actually gonna block off half the garage, soundproof it, and then make it into a dungeon.
Hell yeah.
So I got plenty of people. Not only can I use it for fun and for work, but I could also use it for promos for wrestling because it wouldn't be weird for Funny Bone to be sitting in a place with a bunch of whips behind him.
Yeah.
Seems seems right up my fucking alley.
Right.
So I'll be
100%.
able to use it for everything except for personal training. I think that might scare
Mhm.
away some of the clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
or make them really happy. One of the two.
Maybe your extra activities are a little much. Or
Well,
yeah.
no, that's the funny part is like all of my clients except for one so far have been
Mm,
fans of Funny Bones, so they know my
mhm.
extracurricular activities because I am so
Nice.
open, so they know
Yeah.
exactly what I do.
And that makes it much easier for you too, because I mean, then you can just kind of embrace it as a whole, and then they accept you as a whole. And if you bring up work from something else, they're not like, ugh. And
Yeah, they're not
then,
weirded out by it. They're used to
yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
I still remember when I came out as like pansexual and poly, people fans literally were like, "Oh yeah, we kind of figured."
yeah,
Like no one gave a shit because they're like, "Yeah, no, that seems right." Well, I was
right,
like, "I'm on the cover of Hustler." They're like, "Is this the first time or is this like the fifth?"
right,
I'm like, "No, it's the first time.
right,
This is important. This is cool." They're like, "Oh, we just figured like that was normal for you." Granted,
right.
they Mike Wazowski the fuck out of me when I was on the cover, and I'm going to show you because it's actually right here. I really hope you get the term Mike Wazowski.
Oh,
Um, Here's the cover. Here's my arm. Here's my leg.
mm-hmm,
I'm on the cover, but I'm not on the cover.
mm-hmm.
She's on the cover. I'm right here. I'm standing there. You can see my tattoo. It says "fuck
Yeah,
you"
I
right
see
there
it.
on my wrist.
Yeah.
That Mike Wazowski'd me. Mike Wazowski and Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put the thing over his head.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
he's on
it.
the cover, but he's not on the cover.
Yeah.
That's me with my first porn cover. Which I'm not. I'm there, but I'm not.
Well, at least you got that. I mean, how
Yes.
many people can say that, you know?
Oh, the best is like it actually. Originally, I did the thing, and they put it as the just one of the things, but that actually was the same month that COVID started.
Mm-hmm.
And since nobody got to see it, they redid it and this time put it on the cover and in the centerfold. And then since then, I've been in a lot of the advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
They have a picture of me. I hit her with the flogger, and that's one of their advertisements for. It's either whatever they use it for. I don't give a shit. It's their photo.
Right.
They paid for it, so
Right.
I use it for advertisements. So I'm in most of the Hustler magazines now,
Mm-hmm.
which is fucking cool shit to say. Like
Hell yeah.
anytime my kids, again, my older kids, they're more associated with Daddy Does and everything like that. My son's like, just bought a brand new car. How about you? I'm on the cover of a porn mag. How about you?
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't want to be on the cover of a porn mag. I'm like, well, you'll never be on one with that attitude. That's fucking
Right.
stupid.
Right.
Like, it's really hard to talk shit with me because I've done a lot of cool things in my life. And since I am very open, like they know all about them. Like again, I dated two women for like 9 years. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I got two women in my bed. How about you, buddy? No,
Mm.
zero. All right, shut the fuck up, bitch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I torture my children. That should be on my resume. I torture children, usually just my own. I'm a professional asshole when it comes to children. I torture other people's children too. They're very much terrified of me at shows. Kids love me from afar so much.
Right?
Absolutely love me. They
And
just
then they
don't
get
want
like aura
anywhere to
shock.
be around me.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It's like aura shock whenever you get too close.
Yeah, they feel it. Like, and that's, I've had that with adults too. Like, because like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I have my merch out there and stuff like that. I've known adults and fans that refuse to buy merch from me.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I walk away, they'll buy it from anybody else. If I'm there, they're like, no, no, I'm not
Right.
going near nothing. Not at
Right.
all. Like, it's fucking. I'm scary. I'm creepy. I'm weird. And I do like when fans take pictures with me. Like I grab their neck or I put a
Mm-hmm.
staple gun to their head or like I'm not friendly when it comes to that part either. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, yes, let's take a picture. No, I'm going to do something awful to you.
Right. But
I mean, a lot of
that's
fans like
also
that
part
type
of,
thinking.
yeah, that's part of who you are too, and that's part of your presence. So to expect you to not be you is kind of, you know.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, I
Right.
really had to have that conversation with the promoter because he's like, I didn't think it was going to be that violent or much cursing. I was like, I'm sorry you didn't Google me first.
Right.
Like, what the fuck do you want from me, man? Like,
Right.
I'm currently on a ban from wrestling in Maryland. Because they have an athletic commission there, and I broke a lot of their rules because they
Mm-hmm.
booked me in a hardcore match inside a steel cage. I brought thumbtacks. I did staples. I used lemon juice on the guy after he went through the thumbtacks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are all against the rules. And the promoter was like, "Dude, I didn't know it was going to be like that." I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you there, bud. Google
Right.
me. Like when I do hardcore stuff, it's bloody, it's painful, it's stabby. I
Right?
put people through doors and tables and barbed wire and
Mm-hmm.
shit like that. Like that's me. Like I don't know why you didn't think that was gonna happen. That was weird.
Right? Like,
You
I'll
should have
never
looked me
understand
up.
that. Right? That's like whenever you go to a steakhouse and you order a burger.
Stupid. Yeah. It's like, what did you go there for? You could have went to a burger
Why are
place.
you here for why are you here for a burger or fish? Oh my goodness. I've seen so many people go to a steak shop to get fish and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong? You know these people don't know how to cook fish.
Yeah, it's a steak place for a reason. Go there and order steak. You want fish, go to a fish place.
Right?
It's fucking weird.
Oh. But it's been an amazing interview. Thank you so much for being on Forbidden Depths. It's been awesome having you. And I hope you enjoyed the interview.
I had fun.
Good. I'm glad. I will catch you guys on the next podcast. Also, if you don't follow Funny Bone on Twitter, what are you doing with your life right now? Go follow him because he's super amazing. And obviously, you want to see more of him. So let me pull up.
Literally.
It's at Demi underscore God of Death on Twitter. Go
Such a
follow him.
friendly name.
It's an amazing one. Go follow him. If you just type in Funny Bone, it'll pop up too.
Yeah,
So
if you Google Funny Bone Wrestling, all my shit pops up because I have all of it linked together. I have the all my links with everything on there.
awesome.
It's
So
it's
yeah.
all linked together everywhere.
And he's friendly with bookings. Okay. Okay. So remember, November, December, super wide open. So
Yeah,
book
and I do all the fun stuff.
all the amazing stuff. And we know that he puts his all into performing. Go check out his shit. You'll see what I'm talking about. But thank you so much for being featured today. It was amazing
Thank you for
having you.
having me on. I had fun.
You're very welcome. I will see you guys on the next episode. Have an amazing day because we all need more of those, right?